This is the second and last example of memorable things that happened to me during my 45 years career in business, and I call this one the Poisoned Chalice. At the age of 21, when my career as a fledgling accountant had foundered on the rocks of unsuitability, I changed paths into a career that could potentially use what I'd learned, but in a more practical way. The company I joined had a fine reputation for investing in their new employees by training them thoroughly in all aspects of the business, and they certainly didn't let me down on that score, but, as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. After an introductory year, my chosen path was to provide companies with accounting machines, as they were known back then, before the electronics boom which began in the mid-1970s. These machines mainly did what was called debit-credit plonk work, maintaining sales and purchase ledgers for the companies who bought them, as well as an ability to work out payslip information with the aid of good old tax tables A and B for those who remember. Not forgetting that the basic ability of these machines extended not much beyond adding and subtracting, it was still a whole leap forward for most organisations whose previous take-up of technology went as far as a stack of pens and maybe an adding machine. It's fair to say I had an inauspicious start, with a combination of lack of confidence and unsupportive local management being my reasons. And then, a little time later, there was a change in area management, and this new team helped endow me with a newfound confidence, bringing about a swift change in fortunes. The following year, I was the second most successful salesman in the UK at my level, which was reflected in some decent remuneration and some other prizes along the way. But with the plaudits came the Poisoned Chalice. The divisional director for the United Kingdom contacted me directly to congratulate me on my success, and being as I obviously had some sort of golden touch, he asked if I would like to take 4 weeks out of my current job, come to head office in Baker Street in London and run some training courses, and my peers around the United Kingdom would be the ones I would be training. I knew most of them, and there was no chance I was going to get an easy ride. I went down to London to be given the course material, and then, of course, I had to write it up. There would be 3 separate modules taking 3 days and 3 groups of salespeople. All men, as employing lady salespeople was a step too far for the company in the mid-1970s. The company, an American one, did, however, show a greater awareness in their brochures and advertising material of the race divide in that country by ensuring the inclusion of just one person of African descent, known colloquially as the statutory coon. Dear listener, this was how it was back in those days before our more enlightened times, and I'm merely telling you this as a historical fact. And so, on to the 3 courses I was to be responsible for. The first one, truly dire, lacking in conviction, poor communication skills, and worst of all, I came up short time-wise in every element. Could it get any worse? The saving grace was that the attendees gave me a decent critique, so it can't have been as bad as I thought. Or were they just showing some fraternal support for one of their own who had drawn this short straw? Course number 2, better. More confidence, more knowledge, more open discussion, more time used up. But not all of the allotted, but getting there, and I was beginning to enjoy it. On to course number 3. I loved it. Complete confidence and grasp of the subject matter, and I felt as if I could answer any question fired at me. Full interaction, and believe it or not, I actually overran my time on all sections, which wasn't a problem, as it meant everyone was getting full value, and I got some great critiques. Of course, all this did wonders for my overall confidence and opened up other channels of activity over the years. I ended up doing a lot of training, CPD sessions, continuing professional development. I ran seminars, performed on stage, etc. And I like to think that all these extra facets to my normal work only came about because I was handed the Poisoned Chalice, but I chose not to drink from that particular cup.